Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and I'm going to cut right to the chase. Normally, I like to have a fun little intro on my videos, but today we're going to be talking about things that CPAs do a lot, and that is running payroll. And so I've used lots of payroll platform providers. That's kind of tough to say, isn't it? Everything from like Gusto, Paychex, QuickBooks Online Payroll, Homebase, ADP. I feel like I'm missing one, or 10. And today I want to talk about two of those in particular, and that's going to be Homebase and ADP. And I want to run a head-to-head comparison on the two just because they are so different. So the first thing I want to point out is I feel like Homebase was like really made for hourly teams. It was made for teams at the end of the day. I'm talking small shops, small retail businesses, small service provider businesses, anything from selling books to mechanic shops to guitar repair shops, anything like that. And some of the like key features that really like drive me to recommend Homebase to a lot of my clients is it's got everything under one umbrella. And that's not to say ADP doesn't, but it's two different umbrellas. One is an umbrella that would keep you dry from the rain, and the other is a beach umbrella that's going to just like block out everything. So there's the right case for the right tool, and Homebase seems to be that tool most of the time, in that it has one login for like scheduling, time management, messaging, so like employees can message managers or other coworkers if they need to try and swap shifts. And of course, the actual payroll version of the platform. I also like it because it has the option to log in via your cell phone. It has the option to log in using a kiosk. It has the option of mobile time tracking, time clock, stuff like that, like geofencing. And then it also can throw out alerts like if someone's about to exceed overtime hours or if they need to use PTO to cover a shift, stuff like that. The other reason that I think Homebase is like really meant for the small business is it allows tip pooling. And like I feel like a lot of businesses rely on tips to pay their employees, especially if you're like, working food or retail. You're going to need tips. And a lot of times those tips may be split between front of house and back of house. And so having an option to do tip pooling is like a really, really big deal because I've used Paychex in the past, which claims it allows tips pooling, and it does, but it is just a disaster. It is I always had to end up exporting it to an Excel spreadsheet, breaking out the allocated tips, giving it to the correct employees based on hours worked, and then re-uploading to Paychex. It was just, it wasn't fun. And so for Homebase to be able to have that all in one, it's pretty great. So the one thing I do want to throw out there, though, is you do get a free trial, but then you're going to need to use either the Essentials or Plus for most businesses. But then the good stuff that everyone's going to want, which can be that tip manager I was just talking up real big, is $25 a month. And then the actual payroll is $39 plus $6 per employee. So if you've got 30 employees, get ready to pay an extra $180 a month plus the base fee and the cost of the subscription. So it does add up quick. But that's nothing compared to what ADP is going to charge you, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So it's pretty advanced, but it doesn't necessarily offer like a ton of HR and compliance within the app. There's not a ton of deep custom reporting. There are drawbacks to using it. I really do like it for my small business clients, but if you're doing like multiple entities or you're a rather large business with like many locations, you're probably going to want to at least consider using something else. I'm not necessarily saying it's not going to fit, but it's certainly like case by case scenarios. Like maybe it would make more sense for you to use Gusto instead of Homebase. Maybe don't jump right into ADP. So those are some of the things that I really do like about Homebase. There's just a ton of features for what I feel to be a pretty reasonable price. So let's jump into ADP. ADP is a behemoth. It's been around for a long time. When I worked for businesses and didn't work for myself, I used to use ADP to keep my hours, and then I would submit them. It would go to a manager who would then approve it, and then it would go to payroll. So let me tell you why I do and do not like ADP. So I do like ADP because it is just so granular. It's so detailed. You can do anything you want in ADP. It has compliance. It has HR. It has scheduling. It has time management. It has this. It has that. I mean, it is. If you need it, ADP's probably got it. But my biggest complaint is pricing. First, it's gonna be high. I can't tell you what, and that's the reason for my second biggest complaint is it's opaque. Um, be prepared to pay. Like if you thought Homebase was expensive, you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars per month for ADP. So, and that's because they vary by package, and they want to like get to know you. But really, what that means is they're going to try and sell you on the highest package that they think you can afford without balking. So, at least that's in my experience. I do not like talking to salespeople in order to find out what services you can offer me. It's just a waste of my very valuable time. So, it's a good fit because for the clients that do use it, people who maybe have 30, 40, 50 employees or more, it's just robust. Everything is under that big beach umbrella. It's got benefits administration, it's got compliance, it's got HR, it's got payroll taxes, it's all there. But a lot of times it comes with the drawback of it's too complex, it's too confusing. Your employees don't want to use it. And so there's a lot of moving parts. And the workflows and the interface just feel a lot heavier than Homebase. Of course, when you couple that with the higher pricing, to me, for most small business clients, ADP is not going to be the one that I recommend. If you're dealing with like a ton of independent contractors or something like that, or you have like a niche situation, okay, we can talk about ADP. But like if you're managing like a bar, or if you're managing a restaurant or something that like most of those main street businesses are going to be used, I'm always going to lean towards Homebase. And that's not the dig on ADP. It's like when you're a hammer is a nail. And so ADP is like a sledgehammer, and it does too much almost all the time. However, if you've got, just a handful of employees, it can work. You're going to be paying a lot for a lot. You're going to be paying a lot for more than you need. I would definitely at least consider using another platform like maybe Paychex. I feel like Paychex is a good middle ground between Homebase and ADP. Gusto is also a good middle ground, but make sure to at least weigh all your options. I feel like Homebase is like the introductory level. It's really good at what it does. It's great. It works for a lot of businesses. ADP is like way up here. It's not even on the screen. And then you've got all these other options somewhere in between. Once you feel like you're growing and your business is doing really well, it's turning over millions of dollars a year, and you find maybe there's some cracks with Homebase, then consider looking at some of those other options before jumping right to ADP. So anyway, that's my head-to-head comparison between the two. They both do their job really, really well. It's just that the jobs are totally different. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something, and now you can make a decision on what you need to use for your payroll platform provider.